Hats off to entrepreneurs. You bring value to our community by creating jobs and building wealth. Aspire Enterprise of Florida is your premier one-stop resource for strategic business coaching, business trainings, and business services. Our elite team of business professionals have over 30 years of expertise to serve small business owners, not-for-profit organizations, and individuals. Aspire Enterprise, where your needs are our priority.
Hi, Palm Bay. I'm Ron Medina, your candidate for mayor. With your support, when elected, we will immediately move forward to take the necessary actions to restore transparency, to restore accountability, responsibility, and the respect of our beloved city. It's evident through recent audit findings and oversights meeting in Tallahassee that our city has engaged in financial decisions that clearly have put our citizens and our financial stability at risk. The headlines of our city once promoted a city that cares, finalists for a City of the Year, and a community with a great future. Now, today, the headlines promote our city as one with escalating crime, an interchange to nowhere, mismanagement, state-imposed audits, and playgrounds closing due to equipment being unsafe. We must stop this downward spiral of our once financial secured, beautiful community. We drive through flooded roads, potholes, and traffic jams. I pledge to you as your next mayor, I will shine light on these past budgets along with the poor decisions made so we can get the answers our citizens deserve and our state leaders demand. I encourage a forensic audit of all our city operations so we can bring all these things to light. This process will not be easy, but our future and that of our children depend on each and every one of us, ensuring accountability, ensuring professionalism, immediately replacing finger pointing, mismanagement, the rubber stamp process that brought this audit upon us. There are many serious questions. The business and residents of our cities deserve a government that they can trust and believe in. It is important to address these issues head on, for they've made a target of ridicule and skepticism from our surrounding neighbors and our very own residents. This will require strong leadership, transparent and sensible policy decisions, and constant commitment to ethical conduct. As mayor, my first goal will be to restore trust in our government. Government for the people, by the people. This is truly an opportunity for leadership by example. And as your mayor, I'll pledge to you that if I vote to approve a contract with a company to do business with our city, I will prohibit myself from receiving any future campaign funds from that said company. And I will encourage our council members to do the same. I believe as elected officials, we're held to a higher standard. The citizens of Palm Bay will be my only priority. We will address the many concerns of the finding of the state audit and encourage the open participation of our residents to provide oversight in our budget process. Hashtag the public trust. For a better Palm Bay, elect Rob Medina. May God bless you. May God continue to bless this great city we call Palm Bay. Hoorah! Hoorah!
Who am I? I'm someone that believes in community and that dedicates hundreds of hours every year to serving the people of Brevard. Who am I? I'm a scholar that supports and believes in education, that donates countless dollars and hours to helping scholars learn, grow, and be better for our future. Who am I? I'm an advocate that stands up for those who can't stand up for themselves and that protects and defends the Constitution every single day. I'm Alton Edmond, and I'm running for Brevard County Sheriff. It's time for change.
Hello, Palm Bay. Randy Foster, candidate for City Council Seat 3. Let me give you a quote here that is very important. Time doesn't change anything. Leaders change things. And that's what I am. I'm a leader. And that's what I'm going to bring to Palm Bay City Council. Leadership and government experience matters. When you hire someone to do a job, you pick the one with the most experience and leadership and a character, a good character. Here in my hand, I have a certificate from the Department of Justice. I want to share with you and talk about my experience. Let me read this certificate. Department of Justice, U.S. Marshal. This certificate is awarded to Randy Foster in recognition of 28 years of service in the United States government of America. December 15, 2013. 28 years of service matters. It matters when it comes to experience in the government. Not only I have federal government service, I have local government service as a police officer, county government service. I work for Brevard County School, and in state of Florida, I work for the juvenile justice in the state of Florida. I've been working in my community ever since I moved to Palm Bay. Endorsement matters, and where that endorsement comes from should tell you a lot about the person. You don't get an endorsement by just showing up. You go through an interview, you go through a series of questions, and these people pick the best candidate for the job. And Palm Bay Police, Fraternal Order of Police, endorsed Randy Foster. And let me read the letter. Dear Mr. Foster, the Palm Bay Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 111, is honored to inform you the membership has chosen to endorse you for Palm Bay City Council Seat 3. Not my opponent, Randy Foster. So when you hire someone for a job, you pick the one with the most experience and a person with the leadership and character to get the job done. And that's why I'm asking you, Palm Bay, to hire me for Palm Bay City Council Seat 3. My goal is to focus to make Palm Bay the best place in the state of Florida and Brevard County to live, work, and play. Our future is very important, and I'm going to be concentrating on making it the best future for the families and the residents and the city workers of Palm Bay. You trust the police department that chose me. Make the right choice, vote for me, and I will not let you down. Thank you.
For nearly 60 years, most politicians running for office in Palm Bay promised to fix the city's failing roads. In 2017, armed with a plan, Thomas Gaume and a small team of residents set out to accomplish this enormous task.
The need for alternate paths that are smoother than the roads, and the term grassfault will soon be a distant memory.
Tom believes in duplicating success. He started by visiting Northport, Florida, a GDC community exactly half the size of Palm Bay. Northport successfully fixed their roads with a road bond referendum, and Tom made several trips to Northport to fully understand the process.
In the 2018 election, 66% of Palm Bay voters approved a $150 million bond referendum. Now we're turning our failed roads into an economic engine to diversify our tax base and lure commercial businesses,
while at the same time looking out for the environment and the delicate ecosystem we call home.
That's what sets Thomas Gaume apart. He solves problems by creating teams of citizens to conquer even the most difficult issues. You might say that Tom is the man with a plan. Vote Thomas Gaume for Palm Bay City Council Seat 3 on November 3rd. For your family, your property, and our future.
Approved and paid for by Thomas Gaume for Palm Bay City Council Seat 3 nonpartisan.
Hello Palm Bay, I am Kay Mirage and I'm running to be your next mayor. I currently sit on the Planning and Zoning Board as well as our Community Development Advisory Board. I'm a mom, I'm a small business owner, and I've been married to my husband Lynn Bolt for 19 years. And together we have an amazing 17-year-old son who's about to head off to college. Palm Bay needs fresh, bold leadership, one who is an embracer of change, diversity, and inclusion, who is proactive and thinks outside the box. They need to be free from conflicts of interest and owes no favors to the who's who. Our next mayor should be informed and have a true understanding of the issues and be ready with plans to help solve them. They must be open to have dialogue with you and empathize with your concerns. I am that leader. I'm ready to work with council to earn back public trust, bring transparency and accountability to all levels of city government. I am your voice, and I'm that unifying force that is ready to guide our city towards smart growth and a very successful future. For more information, visit palmbayk.com, and on August 18th, vote K Mirage for Palm Bay Mayor. K is the right choice for Palm Bay. I'm K Mirage, and I approve this message.
Palm Bay and our surrounding communities, I would like to thank you for your tremendous support. As we move into the fall months, Palm Bay Live is seeking your support so we can continue to deliver valuable programming. Your monetary donations will help us so we can achieve those goals. You can donate online at www.palmbaylive.com. Advertisers are also welcome. Palm Bay Live is a non-profit organization. Thank you for your continued support. Good evening, Palm Bay, and welcome to another edition of Palm Bay Live. And give me 1 second here. Let me fix this. Out there. There you go. Welcome to Palm Bay Live, and I'm glad you're here with me today. And with me in the studio is Thomas Gaume. He's a candidate for City Council Seat 3. And before I bring Thomas onto the platform tonight so I can interview him, I just want to keep you abreast of what's going on. Monday, as we all know, is going to be our debate, or probably the only debate for this fall for Seat 3. And so I wanted to highlight some positive stuff that's going to be happening. There's a little twist to the debate this time around. And before I announce that, I want to bring up this video that I want to show. It's like a 2-minute clip. Watch this. Hello, welcome to another edition of Palm Bay in the News. Our acting city manager recently gave our residents an update on our trash recycling collection services set to launch October 1st. Here's a glimpse of what's to come.
We're going to start a new solid waste contract. And so, in case you haven't heard, we're moving from waste management to Republic Services. That will be October 1st that they will start that service. But in the month of September, residents are going to start to receive information in the mail, brochures and postcards to tell you more about the services. But if you have any questions, again, call the city, let us know. We'll be happy to help.
Palm Bay Live will be hosting yet another debate on Monday, September 28th at 8 p.m. This debate is for Seat 3 between Randy Foster and Mr. Thomas Gaume. This event will be hosted by the president of the Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce. The public is asked to submit questions by Thursday, September 24th. The upcoming debates will include the following rules. Introduction, 2 minutes. 2 minutes to answer each question. 2 minutes for rebuttals. 1 minute for subsequent rebuttal if needed. And 2 minutes for closing remarks. And a twist to the debate is that each candidate will have a chance to ask one question each to each other. Palm Bay Live will interview Randy Foster, candidate for City Council Seat 3. Please submit questions by Sunday, September 27th. This will end the events for the month of September. In case you missed it, here's a mayoral candidate's response on one of the training questions in the public sphere. For defunding, no for defund. What is it? Yes or no? Let's go around the room really quick, Matt.
I've got the order. If we're going to start with K. Mirage this time.
Do not defund the police. We, again, on my platform, it's there. We have to make sure that we're investing in our police and fire departments.
Okay.
Rob Medina.
Absolutely, emphatically, no way.
Okay.
Okay. Alfred Ajari.
I guess we all decide on the same thing. I don't think our police need any defunding at this time. Thank you.
Okay, great. This has been another edition of Palm Bay in the News. Have yourself a great week. Okay, so I got this. So that's the announcement, folks. That's the twist of the debate this time around. we're going to have each candidate be able to ask of each other one question. One question will be able to be posed by each candidate, and it is going to be the twist of the debate, and that should make the debate exciting to watch. And they won't know when it's going to be their turn to ask the question. I already met with the moderator that's going to be helping me with this, and we pretty much is going to make it very lively, so that way we can, they won't anticipate when the questions are going to be asked. They will, they're just going to be known. It's your turn to ask your question to the other candidate and all that good stuff. So that's going to be the twist of the debate. And so that should make it really fun to watch. So join me on Monday night at 8 p.m. sharp. We will begin. And again, the president of the chamber is going to be here with us to host the debate. So without further ado, let's bring on the man of the hour, Mr. Thomas Gaume, on to center stage. Hello, sir, and welcome to the platform.
Good evening. Welcome to my home.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. And for everybody to me and Thomas go way back. We know each other. But bottom line is, I told Thomas that I'm not going to be easy on him tonight. It's going to be tough questions. So he may unfriend me after this interview. I told him so. So we'll see how this plays out, sir.
I actually answer questions, so
yes,
this
sir.
isn't a big deal.
Okay, awesome. So good, Thomas, you're here. We were supposed to do this earlier in the spring, but one of your opponents dropped out and made it into the fall. So we're here into the fall race, and I'm glad you're here with us tonight. So, Thomas,
finally get a chance to talk to the citizens of Palm Bay.
Yes, sir.
I've been looking forward to it.
Awesome. So without further ado, I'm going to open you up to explain who you are, tell the public who you are. For those who may be watching for the first time, maybe just getting to know you. As you know, this broadcast is streamed across the internet to different platforms, including Next Door Neighbor. So that's a whole different set of audience right there. So go ahead, tell the public, who is Thomas Gaume?
Well, my name's Thomas Gaume. I'm 57. I moved to Palm Bay in 1994. I grew up in a small town of Middlebury, Indiana, which is kind of an Amish community. It's where all your recreational vehicles are built. The big Class A motorhomes, Class C motorhomes are all built in Elkhart County, Indiana. However, I didn't want to go work in the trailer industry or the RV industry. So I joined the Navy directly out of high school, went to the Navy and worked on guidance systems for weapons. Is about the only way I can say it. But I learned a lot in the Navy. One of the main things I learned was leadership. The Navy was very good about sending us to leadership schools, identifying the different kinds of leaderships and when to employ each one. Got out of the Navy, went to work at the Space Center, like a lot of people did, but decided I didn't like from having 120 people working for me to be in low man on the totem pole. So I've started my own business, sold that off, started another business, executed my exit strategy on that, took up computer consulting for about 15 years, and now I'm retired as a disabled vet. So I'm ready to go to work for the people of Palm Bay.
Okay, sir. Thank you for that introduction. Without further ado, let's get into the heart of the matter. Let's ask you some questions. Let's get to the most urgent question of the way first. What should the legal punishment be for putting pineapple on pizza?
I guess I'd have to be in jail if there was a punishment for that, because my favorite pizza is ham, pineapple, and bacon.
Okay.
So,
and that question was actually submitted by a citizen, by the way, by a member of our community. Actually submitted that as one of their questions. It was.
I hope I didn't lose any votes over pineapple.
No. Now that we have that out of the way, what are your top priorities coming into City Hall, if elected?
Well, you and I work together to get the road bond passed. So obviously that's my number one priority, is to see that through. I believe in finishing what you start, and I want to be there to have oversight over the process and the money, because right now we're ahead of schedule and under budget, and I want to make sure we finish that way. Some of the other things is, people mentioned that we need streetlights. Well, it's easy to look around and mention what we need, but you have to realize, or you have to do a little bit of work and figure out a way to fix these things. When it comes to streetlights, the city has 5,018 high-pressure sodium streetlights that we pay for. They take about 300 watts of power apiece. After finding that out, and finding out that we spend upward of about $800,000 a year for streetlights, I started doing some research, and I found out that FPL has a plan where they will swap out the streetlights to LED fixtures, saving 43% of the power. And I called up FPL and I confirmed that with them, and they stand ready to work with the city of Palm Bay. Simply by the savings in that 43% of the power saved by switching out the LED lights, we can add over 3,000 more lights to our street light footprint at absolutely no cost to the citizens.
Okay, interesting answer that you just gave on that, because I remember bringing this question up to City Hall several months ago, and I think you were there too. And I asked that question about the street lighting, and they told me the residents as a whole would need to call it, to get that done. So that's an interesting answer that you just gave me. So something new that I hear that I did not know. Okay, what are your thoughts on the forced resignation of the city manager? And especially, you know that it was leaked to us. Palm Bay Live got wind of it ahead of time. So what are your thoughts on the whole situation?
Well, I don't know all the ins and outs of it. It was all done behind closed doors. What I do know is, moving forward, is that's not the right way to do things. If you have a problem with the city manager, you bring it up at a meeting that you would like to discuss it. And then at the next meeting, it's put on the agenda, and everything gets done in front of the people, not behind closed doors. So what happened to cause that resignation is really irrelevant. What's relevant is the way it was done, because it wasn't done properly.
Okay. All right. You've been a critic of corruption in Palm Bay. Last year, you were outspoken about the allegations of racketeering and other felonies by city leaders and corruption in the city in general. How will you address corruption in City Hall?
Well, I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing for the last several years. Luckily, Florida has a very open public records law that allows us to do what's called a 119 request, Florida Statutes 119, which means that pretty much anything generated by the government, be it a recording, a note taken from a meeting, or an official document, is available to the public. They can simply walk into City Hall and ask to inspect the document, or they can make a written request for a copy of the document. So that's been my best friend through it. One thing I have pledged, and one thing I intend to do, is keep fighting the corruption. And if anybody comes at me trying to corrupt me, is they'll find their name being mentioned at the next city council meeting right out in the public, because I'll call them out.
Okay, Thomas. So given that,
I think I have a reputation for doing that also.
Great. So given that, we want to err in caution, make sure that we do a thorough vetting here at Palm Bay Live of the candidates when they come through my line of questioning. So I go through every background to make sure that everybody is ironed out, clean. So given that, I want to talk about some stuff personally on a personal issue. I want to first talk about the chamber, Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce. You were a leader there. Talk about your experience at the Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce.
Well, in 2007, I was a Small Business of the Year as a one-man business. I was the first, I don't know if I'm still the only, business to receive that honor. The following year, because of a technicality in the way the board was elected, I was elected as chairman after that and served about 10 months out of a 1-year term as a chairman of the chamber. And when I was done with that, I went to work for the chamber as the government affairs director. At the time, the CEO of the chamber had some family issues and needed to move up into Allegheny County in Pennsylvania and take care of her mother. So she decided to leave. I put in for the job. Somebody else put in for the job. They were selected, and I was asked to stay behind and train them. And my simple answer, filled with maybe I was much younger and less level-headed, but I declined. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay. All right. And I will leave it at that. Let me ask you, corruption. On the topic of corruption, going back in Hess, have you ever been committed of a crime?
Nope. I've been arrested when I was in the Navy, but I've never been committed of a crime. We were overseas. Sailors do what sailors are going to do, and a bunch of us got hauled away, and a few hours later got taken back to the ship. So, but that's what happens when you're young, and it was over 30 years ago, so it's really not relevant to this.
Okay. All right. What will you do to change the collective ethics of City Hall?
Well, I can only do and speak for myself. One thing I feel very strongly about was I don't go around chasing endorsements. Endorsements are a two-edged sword. I did not pursue the police or fire union endorsements, nor would I would have accepted them. And the reason for that is within the first 2 months of the next city council being sworn in October of next year starts a new police and fire contract. So leading up to October of next year, the city council is going to be responsible for approving a new contract for the union that, well, I just didn't feel it was right to take their money and then tell the citizens we're approving a contract for them, or didn't feel it was right to take their money and then not deliver what they expect. So it was a double-edged sword. It really was. And so I decided that I just wasn't going to accept or pursue those endorsements. And I think that was the right decision.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Some tough questions for you now.
The pineapple one wasn't enough?
Yeah, no, it was not. Thomas, please explain the rollback millage rate for me. And specifically, would you use the rollback rate and cut expenditures as needed or increase taxes to fund your budget priorities?
I voted for the 3% cap. I was a big proponent of it. I was disappointed that the first 2 years it was in place, we busted the 3% cap. What the rollback is this year, if we collect $120 million for ad valorem taxes, next year, housing prices increase. We have new construction coming in. So the tax base increases. So the rollback rate would be the millage rate required to raise that same $120 million. So that's the best way to explain rollback. And then our 3% cap would be that $120 million plus 3% minus any new construction. So new construction doesn't count against a 3% cap.
Okay, great. And that question was submitted by a member of the community as well. What steps will you take to reduce the size of Palm Bay's government and spending?
You have to repeat that.
Okay. What steps will you take to reduce the size of Palm Bay's government and funding and spending rather?
Well, I think everything needs to be looked at. I don't want to get very specific about this right now because I don't have all the information. So, I'm a data person, Kevin. That's what I do. I gather data, then I make my decisions based upon facts, not upon feelings or speculation. So without knowing in depth who does what, where they do it, when they do it, that's a really difficult question at this point. But it's something that needs to be investigated and something that needs to be looked at. Is our government too big? Is it the right size? Does it need to be rearranged to better utilize what money we do have?
Okay. All right. The city has surveyed its residents asking about the effectiveness of the communications they send out. Many of us sign up for all e-notifications and have recently received an email about a council member's award, but have yet to receive communication regarding topics such as chickens at upcoming council meetings. Do you feel our e-notifications should be used in more proper manner? And how would you encourage more residents to participate in council meetings? And again, this is not a citizen's question, so go ahead.
I can tell you that I'm not overly impressed with the city's communications to the citizens. One prime example of that is a garbage contract. I'm still dealing with citizens that don't understand why we're changing garbage contracts and the vendor. So the communication is lacking to the point that I regurgitate a lot of what the city puts out. They put them out on something called real simple syndication. And I turn those RSS feeds, or what it stands for, I turn those around and distribute them over Twitter and Facebook. And I get a lot of comments that I put out more information than the city does, when in actuality, all I'm doing is just basically regurgitating what the city puts out in a different way. So maybe the city needs to look at how they communicate with the citizens more.
Awesome, awesome. All right. And let's talk about city council on a whole. How many members do you think we should have on that dais? Do you think we should expand it?
I do. I think we should have 7 members, because a little bit of the history of Palm Bay was, we're 60 years old. So for the first part of our history, all the city council members came from the east side of Babcock Street. Mm-hmm. And then for the next generation, I guess would be the way to put it, they all came out of Port Malabar Country Club. But presently, we don't have any representation for the Northeast. And I don't believe we have any that would qualify. Well, they may qualify technically as being in the Southeast, but east of Bayside, let's say. So there's a lot of areas where having one representative for that quadrant of the city, I could see it could do some good things, and then have 2 at large and the mayor at large.
Well, you think, setting up the council where it represents the east side of Palm Bay, that's pretty much
one from each quadrant, according to what address you're in, because the city quadrants are split right there at the corner of Minton and Malabar by City Hall. So as you go in each direction from there, northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest, from that intersection is the 4 quadrants of the city. So I think spreading the representation around, especially as the southeast comes more online with the new interchange and everything else, I think it's a really good idea to expand our council. We're 120,000 people. The workload of 5 council members could be spread out to 7 and help that a lot, give better representation to the people, and give some people, a lot of people wanted to run for city council this year, and everybody had their ambitions and their reasons why. So let's have, I think more is better, more opinions, more collaboration, more teamwork.
Okay. Do you support a forensic audit of the city?
Well, that's kind of not even a relevant question, because a forensic audit of the entire city would cost millions of dollars. What they funded was a forensic audit of the interchange process, the procurement process for the interchange. And that was $250,000. And I have a problem with that forensic audit, because the interchange is built, the bond is issued. No matter how much money you throw at a forensic audit, none of that money is coming back to us. It's throwing good money after bad. If you want to do a forensic audit, look at stormwater, because that was mentioned in the forensic audit as some of the personnel costs being inappropriately charged to stormwater. Look at Parks and Rec. There's a $4 million budget there. I want to know why. Do we have a $4 million budget for Parks and Rec? And exactly what do they do? That gets back to your earlier question. That's something that needs to be looked at. Is $4 million being well spent? That's my only question. I'm not saying $4 million is good or bad. I just want to know it's being spent well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Name your top 2 proposals that you intend to bring to Palm Bay. What are your top 2?
Well, one was to expand the city council to 7 members, 4 members, one from each quadrant, 2 at large, and the mayor at large. One of the other things is opportunity zones. I'm a big follower of Senator Tim Scott. He brought forward the opportunity zones, and what that is some big investor, LLC or private investor, decides that they want to invest in Palm Bay. And they take their money out of the stock market, which is capital gains, and they invest it in Palm Bay. And if they leave that capital gains invested for 10 years, that capital gains tax goes away. But the city gets that investment. So that's in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot more to it. And the governor has to be involved. It has to be passed by the legislature. But it's something I think we should pursue, because it's called Opportunity Zone for a reason. And we have some areas in our city that really could use some opportunity right now.
Okay. What actions do you intend to propose to the council to reduce the size of homelessness in this community? I mean, we always hear this, homelessness. Do we have a homelessness problem in Palm Bay? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we have 120,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
The last numbers that came out were under 100 homeless people. So 0.001% of our population is homeless. First of all, I'm a veteran. My medical is handled by our Vieira VA clinic. That's where I go. In the Vieira VA clinic is an entire section devoted to homeless veterans. So for there to be a homeless veteran anywhere in Palm Bay just shouldn't be. I mean, unless that's just the way they want to live. So there's a portion of that 0.01% is the homeless veterans, where the VA basically has an unlimited budget to take care of them. They only need to want the assistance or seek the help. Which brings to the second group, is the people who are there by a major circumstance, and they want help, they need help. I think we should do everything possible to help them any way we possibly can. I think the churches play a large role in that. That's the traditional job of the church, more so than government, although government does need to be aware of the problem and address it, which leaves a very small percentage of that 0.01% who simply want to live that way and choose to trespass on other people's property. And they become a liability to the property owner for the property they're trespassing on. And they're a liability to the city overall. So those are the homeless problem. The homeless issue is what we need to address, which is the homeless veterans and the people that seek and want help.
Okay. You know, I had an interview recently. I don't know if you catched it, with Fillmore running for against Mr. Fine. And
To be honest, I'm just paying attention to my own race and letting all the
right.
other noise around me happen.
I asked him a question about this homelessness issue, and I'm a veteran as well, and so, and my concern is that as a veteran, one of the things that I've seen over time is that you go into the service, you serve, and if whatever your MO is, when your occupation is, when you're in there, you may not relate back to civilian life. So when you come back out, guess what? You have nothing to to go to. And I think that's where we're maybe missing the boat, where we're not picking up on that and seeing that, hey, these guys that are coming out, they're going very young, some of them. And so they do not have, and you served, how it is in there. They don't give you financial guidance. They don't set you up where they sit you down and counsel you on certain issues. So they just, when you're done, and you come out and you have like no standing. Go ahead.
You asked me about some of the things I want to bring to Palm Bay, and that brings up one of the points I do want to bring forward, is that Palm Bay used to have a veteran service officer to help the veterans with those type of things. And I'd like to bring that back. And it's not growing government because this makes financial sense. 100% disabled veteran receives about $3,500 a month in pension and compensation. How many veterans do you think there are in Palm Bay that are missing that $3,500 a month that could be put into our local economy, be put into our local tax base? So we have a very large veterans population in Palm Bay, higher than the state average, and the state veteran population is the largest in the country. So I think we need to look at that. I think it makes financial sense, but I also think it makes sense as a service to the residents to have a VSO available at least a couple days a week to address those concerns, make sure the homeless vets get taken care of, make sure the guys with disabilities get taken care of, make sure the guys who can't find a job get put in the VA's education system where they get paid to go to school. So there's a lot of opportunity there. But if you try to get in with a VSO at the county or any of them up at Viera, you have to make an appointment and you have to wait a long time. And a lot of times it's submitting a document and it comes back. Then you have to wait for another appointment to go submit another document. So I'd like to improve that process here in Palm Bay and do something for the veterans.
That would be awesome. And I think that's where we're missing the gap. I sincerely think so. I've been watching it over the years since I got out of service, and I've seen that time and time again. Parents would call me up, Kevin, I have my son, I have my daughter, they go into the service, and what should they do when they come out so that way they get a job when they're done with the service? And I will encourage them, go this route, go that route, because many times this is where I think the gap is missing. They come out and they have nothing to transition to, and they either have no parental guidance there to help monitor them and push them and to the right path, and then they fell on hard times, and how the story goes with that. But anyway,
let me just say this. If there's a veteran out there and you're in a rough situation or you don't know about what benefits are available to you, I'm easy to contact. Maybe I don't have the answers, but I can point you in the right directions to somebody that do. But please take care of yourself. 22 veterans a day commit suicide, and we don't need that in Palm Bay. We want to take care of our veterans.
Okay, glad to hear that, sir. All right, let's move on. Infrastructure. Some people have said that the city needs more lighting in areas. You addressed that. Do you feel the city should invest in the lighting those areas, and how would you prioritize those locations, and how could you fund it? I think you talked about that already.
I talked about the beginning of that process, but that's just the first step. After that, we do need to address it, but a big part of addressing that can be done with impact fees and in the new developments as they come online. I live out at the west end of Malabar. We used to be able to see the stars out here. Now, every subdivision that's going in, they're putting up lights and street lights. So that's a good thing. when you talk about getting into the city setting. Not such a good thing when you moved out in the middle of the country for a reason 26 years ago. So,
all right. During the August 6th City Council meeting, the city discussed a stormwater fee to raise $9 million for stormwater utility. You're opposed to this because you believe the city has a budget surplus of about $11 million. Am I correct? And
it's 11 million, but they had 2 million of it. They kind of had earmarked, so it was more like 9 million.
Okay, so would it be wrong to impose additional fees to residents, especially in the midst of the pandemic with rising unemployment rates and inflation? Can you discuss this?
Well, I spoke against it. I mean, I was against the stormwater assessment when it was an assessment, and then they turned around and turned the assessment into a fee on the utility bill right in the middle of the pandemic. Honestly, if I'm elected, one of the first meetings, I intend to ask to reset that rate and see if I can get 3 votes to reduce that rate to something less than $100.
Okay. All right. So that answers my other question. What are your plans then to bring more resources to families and small businesses who have been impacted by the pandemic and they need more support?
Well, the first thing that we all have to do is support our local businesses. You'll tell people, people call me up and ask for a meeting. A lot of times I'll insist that we go to a local diner or something locally owned. Just to get that little bit of, I mean, $20 to a lot of these businesses is a difference between them making a profit that day at this point. So it's important that we all spend our money locally. We really have to see, I mean, are we going to open everything up next month? Are we going to open everything up December of next year? Until the governor and the national and everything else, all we can do as a city is adapt and do the best we can do with the resources we have. I'd like to see some of that CARES money be put into small business incubators so that they can grow or survive. I shouldn't really call them an incubator, but some kind of way so that the little mom and pop shop on the corner that is just had their business decimated because their customers have to stay home. We have to do something to help them out. And that's, personally, I spend my money in Palm Bay and very seldom leave Palm Bay.
Okay. We talk about opportunity zones already. Let's talk about what is your vision? I think you touched on this, but what is your vision for economic development in the city of Palm Bay?
Okay, because excuse me, just a second. Mm-hmm. I get warmed up for this one.
You were expecting this, huh?
Well, the mayor took a shot at me on Thursday night after a city council meeting, and he said I'm anti-growth, and I'm not anti-growth. I'm about smart growth. What I'm not for is building apartment complexes next to Far Chemical or putting campgrounds in the middle of existing neighborhoods. So when they say I'm anti-growth, I'm not anti-growth. I'm smart growth. I think that we're getting ready to do our comprehensive plan. That's one of the major things we have to do is redo our comprehensive plan. With the new interchange and the existing interchange on Malabar Road, Babcock becomes a natural corridor for businesses because any business, I don't care if you're manufacturing or you're retail, the most important thing is getting goods to market. Easiest way to get goods to market is between those two interchanges and having the locations along that Babcock Street corridor.
Okay, great, sir. Wow. All right. All right.
When are we going to get to the tough questions, Kevin?
You see me sign. You've been whizzing through these. Okay. Can you talk about Malabar Road? Why access is so important for Malabar Road and your plan to improve accessibility if elected? I believe you opined on that some time ago.
Well, the city's part of Malabar Road that needs to be 4-laned is from just west of Minton out to the bridge that's east of the new light at Krasner, because that bridge is the line. That's the line of delineation line, because everything west of that bridge, and including the bridge, belongs to the county. So as you've seen in the last week or so, they're paving that section of road, and that's the county paving that, not the city. So the city's been buying up the right of way along that section of Malabar Road. They need to widen, but I don't believe there's any plan or funding for the county portion of that road, because they would have to build an additional bridge for 2 lanes of traffic. So I'm not sure exactly what the plans are at this point, but it's obviously something that needs to be addressed.
Okay. Let's talk about waste management for a second.
When are we going to talk about the future instead of the past?
I have that question lined up for you.
Okay.
What is your thought process on the whole new recycling, not recycling, but trash collection system that we have coming October 1st?
Well, first of all, Carmine Vitale and I, we attended all the meetings having to do with waste management, from the bid openings, the selection process. And I read people saying that there's a buy off or payoff or somewhere or something, and there wasn't. It was closed bids. They were opened in front of the public. We watched the selection process. If you watch the selection process, it really wasn't even close between the 3 people that submitted bids, and Waste Management chose not to submit a bid. So obviously you can't select Waste Management if Waste Management doesn't submit a bid. So Republic had the best cost, and they were really the only company that submitted a bid that was capable of handling a city the size of Palm Bay now and in the future.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we I guess we still have some education to do, because I noticed there was when the last council meeting that we had last week, I saw folks was calling in and leaving, public comments, concerns about the whole new system. So
that gets back to the city communication thing.
Yeah. So I guess we have a lot of education to do in that respect. Okay. Future. How will you support small businesses going forward to make sure that the red tapes are cut out and we as a city can grow?
Well, we talked about when I was at the chamber, and one of the things we accomplished at the chamber in the 2005-2006 timeframe, I mean, we were really building a lot of houses then, and the permitting process got to where it was 3 and 4 months long. So we worked with the city. We got that permitting process down to where it was about 3 weeks. In the several years since then, again, we're back up to months for a permitting process. So that's important, because when you decide you're going to start a small business in Palm Bay, you go out and you rent a space, and then you have to build it out. You have to buy your inventory. Well, the last thing you do is you get your certificate of occupancy from the city. So if it takes 3 or 4 months and you've got your inventory and you're paying rent and you're paying a light bill, you're not bringing in a penny. All you're doing is spending money. So these small businesses are doomed before they even open the doors. They just don't know it yet. So one of the big things is streamlining that permitting process down and give these businesses a chance, because right now, like I said, they die on the vine before they even get their door open. The other thing is we need some more community neighborhood type areas where there's grocery stores, especially down in the Northeast. That is a food desert. Evans Center helped to alleviate some of that, but we need more investment down there, and that's one of the areas I'm looking at for an opportunity zone. We've also talked about trade schools, and trade schools can fall under the opportunity zone and we have the nursing academy down there, and I'd like to see some other trades moved in.
Okay. All right, great. How will you work to eliminate taxes while also improving roads and services for all? And do you have a plan in place for this?
Well, the way we reduce taxes is by attracting businesses and building out the density of our city. It just spreads the load between us all. So that's the main way, is through smart growth, because does anybody really want to rent an apartment or build a house next to an industrial complex where you could have an explosion? I mean, that's where we really get down to. People move to Palm Bay and live in Palm Bay because they want a safe, quiet place to live. If they wanted to live in a city like Orlando or Tampa or Miami, that's where they'd be. But they chose to live in Palm Bay because they wanted a safe, quiet, laid-back place to raise their family or retire.
Okay. You believe that Palm Bay needs a council that supports and includes them. How will you engage the citizens of Palm Bay? And the other follow-up to that is, do you have any programs or initiatives that you're planning to implement to increase public engagement?
Well, I think I'm very approachable and accessible. I actually want people to ask me questions. I want to hear their ideas. We have 120,000 people, and I'm not the smartest guy in the room, maybe right now because I'm the only guy in the room, but I'm certainly not the smartest guy in the city. We have a city filled with engineers and rocket scientists. So people have ideas, but for too long, nobody's been willing to listen to those ideas and take action on them or research them. That's how the road program was started with nothing but an idea, some investigation, building a team. 66% of the people said, let's do the roads. So thank you to that 66%. But that's one of the biggest things is it all has to be us. It has to be a team effort, not one person.
Okay. All right. Public safety. All right. The question that's being asked: should we defund the police? Yes or no?
Oh, if you go back and watch the city council meeting after this all started in Portland, the first talk about defunding the police, I actually went to the city council meeting and I asked them to put a charter change on the ballot that would require a certain percentage of the city budget to be dedicated to the police department, so that no future council could defund the police on their own. It would be set in the charter. In order to defund the police, you'd have to go back to the voters and get 60% of the voters to approve defunding our police department. Somebody said there might be a legal issue with that, but nobody actually addressed my question or my suggestion. So that's something I'd like to pursue.
Okay, so let's talk about the charter for a second. I'm not sure if you said this as yet, but do you think we should have overall on the charter? Do we need to go back and revisit certain elements of the charter right now?
Well, there's sections in the charter that are in conflict with itself. The citizens voted when we voted to repeal the assessment, the power of assessment away from the city council. There was two other questions on the ballot, and if they were both answered positive, or both answered yes, or both answered no, there wouldn't be an issue. But those two questions are kind of in conflict with each other, and if somebody was to run a petition right now, they probably stand a pretty good chance legally of getting it through because of the problem with the charter.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. How would the city if you were sitting on a dais and a question comes up about COVID-19 and wearing of masks and all that good stuff, say for example, our pandemic situation got worse, how would you envision, a Thomas Guam on the dais would vote for wearing of masks or any other issues to protect the public? What would you do?
I'm all about civil rights. I'm sorry. A lot of people aren't going to like this answer, but we're all responsible for our own personal safety. I wear a mask because I go places where there's at-risk people. I go out in the community and meet and greet people. So I wear a mask out of courtesy. But I would never tell somebody they have to wear a mask. I wouldn't put that restriction on somebody else. I'm more than willing to put it on myself. If I had minor children, I'd be more than willing to put it on them. But I'm not going to infringe on somebody else and force them. That's like saying, I can't even come up with a decent example of it. I just don't. It rubs me the wrong way to dictate to somebody what they have to do. I'm about personal rights, property rights, First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights. And I find that any mandate like that is not enforceable to begin with, and really leaves angst between the government and the citizens.
Okay. Public safety. What would you do to make sure that the citizens are protected? As far as, I don't remember the crime statistics right now in Palm Bay, but what would you do to make sure that the public at large stay safe? What kind of measures would you implement, or would you bring?
Well, some of the things is community policing. We need to bring back our PAL, but not so much as an athletic league, more as mentors. In Proverbs, it says that if you set a child on the right path, he won't venture off of it. And I'm a firm believer in that. So I'd like to see us bring back PAL, more community policing with our younger community members. And that's a lot of it, is just getting the police out in the community. And hopefully when this COVID thing's over, I really miss going to the coffee with the cops. We haven't had one because of COVID. I know that's why. But I will bring this up because it was put out late this afternoon that there's some contention with the food distribution program going on down on the northeast side of the city. And I'm refusing to speak any names. But I will say this. All anybody would have had to do was ask our police department to go down there and handle the traffic situation. And you would have had plenty of volunteers. I know that from working in Little League. I know that from working in Special Olympics. All we've ever had to do was ask our police officers for help, and they show up. But instead of doing that, they decided to politicize this thing and take a good thing and turn it into a bad thing. They decided to take food out of people's mouths is basically what it equates to. And I'm really upset about that because it shouldn't be a political thing to put food in people's mouths.
Okay. All right. Thomas, did good tonight. I have a question for you, and then I'm going to allow you to close it out. What does the future of Palm Bay look like with you on the dais?
Well, I really love the northeast part of our city. That's where the Chamber of Commerce is. That's where the history of the city is. I don't think the CRA or the Bayfront Redevelopment District was the right tool to use for that area. Obviously, 21 years, we've got some street lights, an apartment complex that's built in the wrong place, a lot of pretty pictures, and a lot of broken promises. So the Business Improvement District is just doubling down on the Bayfront. It basically doubled the size of the Bayfront to make up for the half of the funding they were losing by the county not participating. So I don't see any positive future for the business improvement district. I think the future of the Palm Bay is out the St. John's Heritage Parkway, and the new interchange area is where most of the growth is going to happen. And for people who are worried about us moving City Hall down to Emerald Lakes, I have this to say. My grandpa helped build that City Hall. We're not moving it. My grandpa and I helped build Palm Bay Baptist Church. I have 5 generations of family in this city. This means a lot to me.
Where do you and I lied to you, that was my last question. Where do you envision downtown Palm Bay would be if we ever come to fruition? Because we know of the BCR situation. You just talk about it. I have my own opinions on that. I've been watching that thing from the day I arrived in Palm Bay, and I never understood it because it never made any sense to me. But where do you see a downtown Palm Bay?
Well, I see a couple different activity areas. One's going to be at Emerald Lakes. I don't know if you've seen the virtual rendering fly around of that facility, but when it's done, it's going to be phenomenal. Right out at the edge of out at Malabar and the St. John's Heritage Parkway, where I live, I think that's really going to be a booming place in the next 10 years. Nothing's going to happen overnight. This is a long process. You have to play this for the long game, not the short win.
Okay. All right. All right, Thomas. The moment has come. I'm going to allow you, and you will get this opportunity next week, Monday night too, as well, to go ahead and tell the citizens of Palm Bay that's going to be watching this now and forever until Election Day, why is it they should elect you? So I'm going to remove myself from the screen so you can deliver that speech.
Well, first of all, if you have any questions and your question didn't get answered, I'm accessible. Gaume.us, G-A-U, A before the U, alphabetical order. Don't get them backwards or you won't get to the website. www.gaume.us, as in us. Will get you to my website. My phone number is 321-557-4700. Email address is tom@gaume.us. Contact me. I answer questions. I look forward to hearing from people. The reason I want to do this is because I feel like I haven't had the type of representation I deserve from the past city leaders. I want to be that representative that I envision in my own head for the rest of the citizens of Palm Bay. And I'm asking for your vote on November 3rd, or on your mail ballot, or your early ballot, or the ballot you drop off at the election office. But my name's Thomas Gaume. I'm running for Palm Bay City Council seat 3, and together we can accomplish great things. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas, for joining. And again, many viewers will be watching this to come over the weekend. Some folks told me they'll watch it later on, so we anticipate they will be able to pick up and send you questions and all that good stuff as you suggested. Folks, don't forget, next week, Monday night, the twist on the debate, as I announced earlier at the top of the hour, is that each candidate will be able to ask one question to their opponent. So that's going to be the twist of the debate that will allow the excitement and the thrill of the moment for that night. So that will be something to look out for. So, I mean, I'm highly anticipating as to what kind of question Thomas would ask of Randy, or Randy would ask of Thomas, and vice versa, back and forth. So, I mean, that will be interesting to watch. So I will be definitely looking forward to Monday night. Don't forget, 8 p.m. sharp, the president of the chamber will be with us. I'm asking you guys, please behave in the comment section that night. We have the president of the chamber that's joining us, so please behave in the comment section, and please, do make Palm Bay proud. a little
Now,
like
Kevin, I want to say something.
Go ahead.
Because word came back to me that they overheard a conversation where somebody said they thought I was a troublemaker, that I caused too much trouble. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, and I wear that with a badge of honor, because Jesus Christ was a troublemaker. The founders of our country was troublemakers. Maybe Palm Bay needs a little bit of trouble to shake things up and get rid of the corruption and set things on the right path.
Okay. There you go. I guess the stage is set for the debate on Monday night. So again, please send me your questions by the 20. When is it? I think I said it on by the 24th. Please send me the questions by the 24th, because I have to meet with the team to go over the questions and to make sure they lined up and everybody, everything is succinct and then we can present the plan of action to the president of the Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce, so that we know everybody's on the same page going into Monday night. So please, 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 one thing I'm asking, and I said it already, please on Monday night behave in the comment section. I don't want to see any remarks that's untoward to each. We can be a better community, and I am stressing that. Please, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it at all. Just tie up your hands that night from the keyboard and just watch the debate and enjoy it. Okay? All right? Thank you so much, and have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.